From the 915 to H-Town, from the Panhandle Plains to the Valley, and everywhere in between, this is the 50/50 Podcast, powered by the 50/50 Podcast Network. Join me, Hector Cano, as we cover the Texas high school club and college soccer landscape, along with an inside look at the college soccer recruiting scene. The 50/50 Podcast is a platform about the people and for the people who are dedicated to the beautiful game. Here we go. It's another edition of Inside Texas High School Soccer, Season 6, Episode 6. I am your host, Coach Hector Cano, and if I am Pat Sajak, I am joined by my lovely co-host, Mr. Vanna White himself, Mr. Rafa. Coach Rafa, don't call me Papa Socceritis. Coach, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you?
Dude, I
Pretty
give
good.
you this grand opening, and you let me down every time.
It,
we're
it's got to stay humble. So, like I said, I got to stay humble.
And the third man in the mix, all right, the addition of the third runner, he is one of our contributors, longtime contributors. It's been a minute since we've had him on. Excited to have him on. He is Mr. Steve-O, don't call me Federico Sanchez. Coach, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, doing good. Just staying busy here in the beginning of February. Kind of getting into that middle of the most wonderful time of the year here for Texas high school soccer.
Yeah, it's coming. It's
Yeah.
coming. But before we get to that, we're going to talk all things UIL realignment, as everybody should know. All right, but we're going to talk to some of our casuals that are just joining us. We're going to talk a little bit on what it is, what it means, and how it affects soccer, because it's not 100% done, but it's essentially done. Right. So excited about that. We got a great show today. But before we do any of that, want to go ahead and dive in and give a shout out to our proud partners, as this episode is brought to you by our proud partner and title sponsor, Jeanette Spain at TexasVeteranRealtor.com, the go-to realtor for military and veteran families in Central Texas. With her Cover and Move I Got Your Six approach, you focus on the move while she handles the contracts, deadlines, and all of the details. Top-notch, absolute top-notch agent. I've seen it myself. She's the real deal, guys. If you are in the market, you got to look her up. All right. So if you want a realtor who works for you and fights for you, then you need to visit TexasVeteranRealtor.com for your free no pressure strategy session. Again, that's Jeanette Spain at TexasVeteranRealtor.com. All right. So got a great show today, as I was just alluding to. So we got a couple of great guests. We got Coach Poole from Cedar Park, as well as Coach Strong from Bernie joining us today. Then we're going to dive into Rafa's 2026-2028 realignment winners and losers, right? So all hate mail directed to him, right? So no, it'll be good. It'll be fun. And then we're going to kind of dive in a little bit and look at particularly 6A and 5A a little bit closer. 4A's still very much still a work in progress, but we'll look at that a little bit as well. And excited. But before we do all of that, gentlemen, Rafa, Steve, what's going on, man?
Just busy. I was in Buda today for an event, I think at Hayes. Then I'll be at Veterans tomorrow. So then have a big trip out west. I'll be in the Permian Basin starting on Sunday. I'll be there till Thursday. So I'll be out there probably. Hopefully the weather's not too bad like I went last year in that game at Stown Stadium when it started sleeting.
Yeah.
So I'll probably check out the Permian Midland League game on Tuesday night.
I was about to say, did you look which game it would be? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's going to be at Ratliff.
Yeah, Midland Legacy, soon to be returning to Midland League soon again. So yeah, at Ratliff. When is that? Is that Tuesday or Friday?
Tuesday.
All right, you gonna show up in a Midland Lee shirt and pick Permian, or which one are we doing?
Probably just dress in black. That's it.
Keep it neutral.
No
Behind that. Yeah.
No bright colors and all that. So no, I just okay.
Yeah. Such a great story behind that. Such a great story behind that. If you have no idea what we're talking about, going back to last year's bracketology, I don't know if I'll ever let Rafa live it down. So, but yeah, good deal. Steve-O, what's new? What's going on with you?
Yeah, no, that was a great moment last year when he goes off camera and does the old
couldn't find another shirt
wardrobe change.
Yeah.
So for me, just staying busy. I've been seeing a lot of different games around the different parts of San Antonio. So last week I got out to Smithson Valley to go watch Piper and Smithson Valley girls. great match. It was a 5-0 result for Smithson Valley, but saw a lot of really good stuff that I liked from the Piper team, and who knows, second round could be a tough test for Smithson Valley, but yeah, no, Smithson Valley looks really really good. That being said, I did start a rankings on my own. Nothing to go against Rafa's, but I started 78
Yeah, I
training.
did see that. I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
what are
it's
we going
just
to be
something
doing those?
that
Are we doing those weekly, or what are we going to be? What are we
yeah,
going
I'm
to be
going to be
doing?
doing them weekly. It's usually around midweek, so Wednesday, Thursday. I'll probably have my next one coming out tomorrow. So it kind of pushes me to go out there and see a lot more teams and such. But yeah, so then I got to see Taft and Sotomayor girls and boys last week, as well as Taft and Harlan girls and boys. Some good results there. From the Taft boys team, and then seeing them play against Harlan. Excuse me, Harlan boys look really good here in San Antonio, very strong. So they might be moving up the charts here pretty soon. I know Rafa had mentioned earlier before we got on camera here, went live here, that Harlan and Warren had a 0-0 draw tonight. So, but yeah, and then last night, Southwest Legacy over on the south side of San Antonio. So Southwest really kind of took control of that district, 28-5A, and yeah, they're going to be making a run here again. But yeah, no, just like I said, staying busy with going out to different
Yeah.
matches and such.
I'll
Yeah.
have my rankings out tomorrow, so we'll
Yeah,
see how it's.
Oh my
oh,
God,
they
everybody.
kind of stack against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
no,
grandma's
it's
rankings.
all in fun.
I
My
actually
grandma's
went.
rankings. My
Yeah,
grandma's rankings will be out Saturday. Everybody's got one.
yeah,
Oh my God. Now,
I
Rafa,
believe
are you talking about? Is this your San Antonio area
yeah, San
RPI? Is that what
Antonio.
you're talking
Yeah,
about? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. Good deal. Um, Awesome. Well, hey, so yeah, I know you've been at a lot of games lately, so providing great coverage. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
So before we gotta get Coach Poole in here shortly, but one last thing, what's aside from soccer, right? What do our latest segment? What you watching? What you reading? What's the latest you've gotten your eyes on? Rafa, we'll start with you.
Just been staying in touch with my little side hobby with watching wrestling. That's like I said. I actually went to a wrestling show last week, so I was there at
Oh,
live
really?
at Dynamite. Yep, they're in
Yeah.
Cedar Park, so pretty good show. Good seats, good fun. A little chilly, but hey, it was
Yeah.
it is Cedar Park, so
Mhm.
it's nice venue stuff. So
Yeah.
that's about really it, and just that and catching up other shows like on History Channel and just the
Yeah.
usual.
Cedar Park. Never heard of it, man. Never heard of it.
Yeah.
So good deal. How was the wrestling show?
Well, it was good. Like I say, I got
Yeah.
to see some of the favorites. Like I said, the only any wrestling fans out there like Kenny Omega and all them. So I got to see some pretty good ones out there. Some
Yeah.
surprises too, like I said. So but it was fun. It was a fun event.
Nice. Good deal. Good deal. Steve, how about you?
Yeah, for me, it was kind of a sad weekend because we lost a great actress, Catherine O'Hara, over the weekend. Most, I think, everyone knows her as the mom from Home Alone. She also
I
comes
mean, let's
out.
let's be fair. She played a horrible mom in movies.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
be honest. I mean,
yeah.
let's be
So,
fair. Yeah,
and
just
then
saying. Just saying.
she was also on Beetlejuice, another horrible mom there, and
She was.
uh,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
A great movie if you haven't seen it, Best in Show. So I watched that yesterday, and then I've also been
That's
watching
the dog.
the
That's the dog movie, right? That's the dog one.
correct, yeah,
The
yeah,
dog show movie. Yeah, yeah,
Westminster Dog Show, correct.
yeah.
Great movie. And then I started going down. I had already seen the episodes and the season, all the seasons of Schitt's Creek, so I started watching that show as well. And once again, plays a horrible mom in that show. So
Does she
that's
really?
one you
Like
got to
that one I
watch.
haven't seen. That one I haven't seen. So does she really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh
So
wow. Wow.
she's something
Learning the
else in that.
market. Yeah.
So, but just a
Yeah.
wonderful actress. She'll definitely be missed, and I don't think a lot of us heard anything about her being ill or anything like that. But
Right.
I guess what's unfortunate when it's your time, it's your time. But
Yeah.
she'll definitely be missed. But yeah, just kind of going down that rabbit hole. And then as far
She was still kind of young, wasn't she?
she was 71. She was 71. So I mean, it's for the
That's
most
not
part,
old.
yeah,
That's not
yeah,
old.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but as far as podcasts and stuff, of course, I've got 50/50
There we go.
and yeah, SA Soccer Roundtable as well. Those are all my go-tos. Sometimes I'm a guest on that show as well. And then I do listen to the Alexi Lawless State of the Union, as well as Unfiltered with Landon Donovan and Tim Howard.
Yeah, I like listening to, believe it or not, the State of the Union podcast because I forget his first name, but Mossy.
Mossy,
Mossy is
David
so good.
Mossy.
David Mossy, he's so good, man.
Yeah,
He's just
he's on it. Yeah,
he's
he's
just
on it.
an encyclopedia of soccer information and knowledge, and then just data. Very good. So yeah, I listen because of him. So very good info, and
He's
he's
the
not afraid to give back some of Alexi, some of his own medicine. So
right.
that's how it's fun.
Well, I was going to say he's kind of the Rafa of that podcast, right?
Let's not get carried away, man.
The
Let's not
grumpy
get.
pundits.
Let's not.
That's what I listen to. I listen to that because I have XM, so I listen to them, and I see the WTF when Aldo
Yeah.
show. That one's a good one too.
Yeah, Rafa can tell you who was in the state final 18 years ago, like just random knowledge, 5A, 4A, boys, girls, So, yeah, Socceritis, right? Papa Socceritis.
Yeah. Good deal. Awesome. We got Coach Smallwood in here. He's saying why you guys are trying to copy my beard, my awesome beard. Apparently, facial hair for the podcast. Smallwood, I don't know, man. I've been sporting this for a while. Rafa, when we first started this 6 years ago, he had super long hair, man. I remember that.
That
Super
was
long.
my
You remember
that was my
that, Rafa?
COVID beard
Yeah.
because I
No,
met
no,
a.
no. I'm not even talking about your beard. I'm talking about your
Oh yeah,
hair.
that was
Like
my
you had.
COVID beard and hair.
Yeah, it looked. Yeah, he kind of Rafa like had it going, man. He had
Yeah, I
long
had a
hair.
bet with somebody for that who'd
Yeah,
grow the longest until COVID ended. So I
yeah,
ended up winning.
yeah. Good deal. Awesome. Well, hey, we're gonna go ahead and so I'm still reading the same thing, the Holly Stephen King book that my daughter's got me on. Outside of that, main thing I've been watching has been Huddle. So my head coaches out there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Tons of Huddle. That's what I've been watching. So all kinds of film. So, but enough about that. We're gonna go ahead and bring in our first guest of the evening. He is Coach Winston Poole, the head women's soccer coach of the reigning state champion Cedar Park Timberwolves. Coach, how are you?
Oh,
Oh, here, let me see. I think you're muted here. Let's see here. Coach, can you get
There
us?
you go.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear
There
me?
you are. There you are. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Awesome. Having some technology difficulties today.
Right. It's all, yeah, all good. All good. So, hey, we pride ourselves on technical difficulties. Since we're 99.9% live, they get to see it all raw and uncut, man. So, Coach, how are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Just in the middle of the grind right now.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
trying to survive this district and try to be the top four to make it to playoffs.
So before we dive into, not going to ask you too much, right? But we got to ask you, right, about your current squad. How are things? So it's always tough when you're the hunted now, right? You're the reigning state champions. You graduated a lot of you return a lot of talent, no doubt, but you've also graduated a lot of talent. How are you guys kind of navigating the expectations of reigning state champions? Everyone's after you, but then you have kind of a new crop of girls that are kind of trying to leave their own mark.
Well, it's always a challenge. I told them at the beginning of the season we got a huge target on our back now. Everybody's going to bring their A game and best game every time they play Cedar Park. So we love the challenge. I'll be honest with you, I like the underdog role a lot better than the top dog, but it comes with the territory. And a bunch of these girls were on the state team that are playing now. They were the twos, and now they get to be the ones. So it's a lot of growing up this year. Unfortunately, this year we've got the injury bug right now. We've been without. I think we've been playing the last 3 or 4 weeks without six starters. So it's a bunch of the younger girls stepping up and trying to hold that standard and expectation that we go through every single day. So that's been a good thing. A lot of new faces that are stepping up in big roles and still playing at a high level.
Gotcha. So, your district, your season so far, right? It's always tough. We know as coaches, as much as we prepare, we have to plan for the unexpected. But how much of it so far has it maybe kind of gone to plan outside of the injuries, which you mentioned, right? Because you never know when or how many you're going to get. But outside of that, has it kind of gone to kind of what you expected so far through the season at this point with this squad?
I, there's been a lot of surprises with this squad. I mean, if you would have said where we are right now with the personnel that have been injured, I'd be like, we're lucky to be where we are. It just shows us that again, investing in the entire program and investing into all your girls, no matter if they're JVA, JVB, ones, two, or threes, they're getting the same training. So when their times to step up and perform, they're still performing at a high level. So that's been a good surprise for us. I was telling one of the coaches in our district on Friday night that we've yet to play with our original starting 11 that I thought it would be at the beginning of the season this season. So hopefully they're starting to come back slowly. So again, yes and no. We've been playing good. We've been competing with the best. I mean, we go to I-10 every year, and that's a quality tournament with all the Houston schools and big wigs there, and competed well there. And then the Governor's Cup's always got a great squad of teams. I think I saw your team up there too. So
Yes, sir.
we've challenged the girls in the preseason, which we have to in our district because our district's a lot of tough teams, and then I mean the playoffs aren't any easier. So I think it's been a good challenge. It's been great to see these girls uh, complete or kind of keep going with the challenges that arise and kind of grow up in the game. So it's been a good thing.
Yeah, awesome. So now the main reason why we have you here is you already knew, right, that prior to February 2nd, you all knew you were going to 6A, right? Now
Yes, we did.
now
Was
did
not happy
you
about it, but we did.
have now did you have any clue, any inkling, any just remote possibility that you guys were going to end up where you ended up?
No, I told my AD when the districts came out, I was like, if you would have told me this was our district, I would have gave you a big hug. I thought we were gonna go with Dripping Springs, Westlake, Lake Travis, and all those big schools, and I mean that would have been like a district from hell. But uh, I don't know if I went to church on the right day or what, but it's still a hard district. Don't get me wrong, but where it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I think the biggest just eye opener was the fact that now we have ATX Austin schools in Region 3, right? And now you got to line up. So you're in there now with with Vandy, Vista Ridge, Eastview, Hutto, Leander, and Rouse. All right, but you got to go up against in the playoffs. You're going to probably match up against what is that District 23 now next
23,
next year,
Bridgeland, Cy
right?
Ranch, Cy
Right.
Park, Cy Springs, Full Sure.
Fulsher,
Yeah.
right? Foster, George Ranch, Wall. So, what are your thoughts? Like, I know you're in the moment in terms of the season right now, right? But what goes through your mind when you're like, oh my God, we're now in region, your district you might like, but we're now in region 3. We got to go through Houston. I don't know if I would ever expect it to see in Austin. We kind of had it a little bit a long time ago on the football side, but an Austin district per se in Houston, in that
It,
going
it's
through
it,
Houston. Yeah.
it's crazy. I mean, one good thing is we've gone to the I-10 tournament the last 3 years, so we've played a lot of these teams. So we're familiar with them. But is it any easier? No, it's not. And I mean, if you're gonna make a run in the playoffs, you got to play the best team. So again, it's gonna be a tough road every match in our district, and then every match in the playoffs. It's gonna be a good one. And again, you're gonna have to have some luck on the way. Uh, but I know the girls are gonna be up for the challenge, and we're ready kind of for a new start and kind of see where things go.
Yeah. Good deal. Rafa, you got anything for Coach Poole?
Well, prior to looking to the future, like right now, um, those matchups with District 26 5A has always been kind of like whoever's won that game ends up going making that deep run to the playoffs or winning state. How do you feel about these some of the teams? Because you're hearing the buzz like teams like Simpson Valley, Bernie, and the girls and Piper.
Yeah,
But how do you feel about
It,
maybe
it's
facing them?
always like first you got to get out of district, and then it's the by district that's probably almost a state semifinal game. Like usually, whoever wins that game out of San Antonio or Austin, those teams make runs. I mean, we had Smithson Valley 2 years ago, and that was a 2-1 game. We had Bernie last year. I mean, it's not a walk in the park. And I've always told the girls if we can get out of our district and we can get out of by district, then we can make some noise. And again, kind of like we said before, it's a game by game scenario. When we get there, we got to do our scouting. We got to watch the huddle films. We got to do all that stuff. But we'll be prepared, and whoever comes, we'll battle against them. And I mean, I've seen what Smithson Valley's done this year. They're an amazing team, and they got a great squad. All those girls that when we played them 2 years ago are now seniors and juniors, and they were a hell of a team when they were freshmen and sophomores. So
Right.
I have a lot of respect for them. I have a lot of respect for that district, and it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, and I am on the record, Coach. I'm very big. I was just talking with Coach Atkins today, actually. Very big on them, and I feel, putting him on the spot here a little bit, but I feel that as much as talented as that team he had that went to state a couple of years ago, and he had some individual, like some great talent, and they were a great team, no doubt. But I feel like this team might be just the depth of the talent. This might be his best squad he's ever had there at Smithson Valley. So
Yeah,
no, no
I'm
pressure.
praying they go big school and we go small school.
Good deal. Steve-O, you got anything for Coach Poole?
Yeah, hey coach. Congratulations. Last year, but I know it's another year here and now. But so you were mentioning earlier about the six injuries and such. What kind of do y'all do? Kind of like team bondings or team builders to kind of keep the camaraderie and such high for those that are injured and stuff like that.
Yeah, we do a weekly team dinners, varsity and JV. We do a bunch of culture stuff. I'm big on culture in our program, and it took a lot to rebuild from when I first started. But just the little events that we do outside of soccer is huge for the younger ones to see what the older ones act like, and then even when you are injured, I mean, we've had some that are going to be injured for 6 to 8 weeks, and it's kind of tough to come and wake up early for all the practices and do that, and you don't get to play and you got to go to rehab and you don't see the benefits, but kind of making it fun not just in the soccer world but outside too, and creating that family bond uh, is real big for our girls. And although they miss the game, they're still having fun while they're rehabbing and getting back to it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Good deal. We are talking with Coach Winston Poole, the head women's soccer coach of the reigning 5A girls state champions, the Cedar Park Timberwolves. Coach, really appreciate your accessibility. Thank you for joining us. And I got one last question for you. In terms of your community, right? It was big news this week with realignment earlier this week. What's the general buzz about? Hey, we knew we are going to 6A, but now we're in Region 3. What's the other coaches, other head coaches, different sports, your community, your parents, your players? What's that buzz like beyond just maybe you and maybe the girls soccer program?
I think we're ready for the challenge. I mean, Cedar Park's one of those schools. You put up against any challenge in all sports, we're ready for it. We like to always in all sports do a heavy preseason. Like from my program, I always do a bunch of 6A teams. So going to 6A, yeah, it's rough, but we're used to it. And I know volleyball does the same thing, football does the same thing, basketball does the same thing. So I just think we're ready for the new challenge. Of course, we would love to stay 5A, but with everything growing out here, it wasn't in the cards. And there'll just be new challenges, and we'll set even more standards and see where everything takes us.
Yeah, awesome. Last question for you. Biggest surprise coming out of when the official districts were released for realignment a couple days ago? Your personal biggest surprise
Going to
moment?
the Houston district, going
Go
Region 3.
Was it that obvious?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know if there was something more specific, but yeah, had to ask you anyway. So again,
Yes.
he is Coach Winston Poole, the head women's soccer coach of the Cedar Park Timberwolves. Coach, really appreciate you. Thank you for your time, your accessibility. I know you're just getting in as well, so thank you for being available. Always appreciate you and wish you the best of luck. I know we'll be seeing you go on a deep run come March and April. So good luck to you.
Thank y'all again. Good luck to y'all too.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, that is Coach Poole. So any thoughts, guys?
So it's tough to come from a real high, season win state type, and then having these injuries. It's kind of
Right,
like,
right.
but I'm sure he's got some players that they're coming up the pipeline. And that was probably a question I would ask him. Which players have taken full advantage from the injuries that have stepped it up. And I'm sure, like I said, I think once they're that's the thing. Once they get healthy, that's
Mhm.
one team you probably do not want to play or
No,
match up in the playoffs.
no doubt, no doubt. Steve, anything pique your interest on what Coach Poole had to share?
Yeah, just I mean, that's a big move, not just shifting uh, classifications, but also regions. That's
Mm,
it's a lot to take on,
yeah,
for a program. But if anyone, the Cedar Park is one of those schools that can kind of prevail. They've built that culture, like you mentioned, and that's going to be a new challenge for them. But rest assured, in a year or so, I mean, he's going to have that team rocking and rolling in 6A and Region 3.
yeah, yeah, and it's tricky. One of the trickiest things about it is when this comes out is you're in season, you're focused, you got your eye on the prize right now, but then this just kind of comes out and you can't help but start looking forward.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
that's where
it's
the
tricky. Yeah, very, very.
anxiety and kind of such kind of starts coming
Right,
into play, and it's like, no, the timing of it is just it can be a distraction, right, for a week or two, but then reality sets in when because typically by now everyone's in the middle of district play, and it's like, no, let's just focus at the task at hand. Come May, June, we'll worry about
right,
that stuff later. But
right.
yeah, the shock of it is yeah, and
Yeah.
we all
Yeah,
know how
because
it
it
starts.
is I think on some level, I think there is a psychological shift of like, "Oh my god, we're going to 6A." There is a certain psychological just shift there. I think that happens inevitably whether you wanna, admit it or not. So, again, special thanks to Coach Poole for joining us. But we're going to shift gears here now. We're going to go from the ranks of soon to be 6A to the current ranks of 5A. He is our gold jacket leader, right, Rafa? Probably our guest that's been on the show more than anybody else. He is Coach Michael Strong, the head men's soccer coach of the Bernie Greyhounds. Coach, how are you, buddy?
I'm fantastic. How you gentlemen doing?
You had to show up. You had to show me up with the beard, didn't you?
God, well, I heard that
You had,
someone was
you had to
commenting
show me.
beard, so I went and grew mine out real quick.
Coach, how you? It's been a minute since we've had you on here, but how you been?
Good. Just being a dad, being a coach, being a teacher, and everything that comes with that. How about you guys? I mean, I heard Steve, it's been a minute since you've been on, so I'm excited that I get to be on with you. And obviously, Rafa, I'm thrilled to be here with you again. But if you two want to start a podcast, and us three, we can cut out. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
There
I'm
you
so
go.
happy
There
to
you
be
go.
here.
But
Thank you,
kind of
There you
guys.
go. There you go.
The
Yeah.
Bernie Greyhound podcast, soccer
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's got a nice ring to it,
Yeah.
actually.
Greyhounds, man. You can run with that. So
Run
good
with
deal.
it.
So, Coach, what is before we kind of start diving into everything? What you talk about dad life. You talk about all the many changes in your life, all the many blessings. But before we dive into talking about realignment, how are things with your boys, your program right now? From the start of the season to now, has it played out at all like you thought up to this point, or you didn't know what to expect? Where are you at with that?
We're winning close games. We're getting results, and it has been proud coach moment for a lot of the year. We started off losing to Alexander, a good 6A Laredo Alexander school, 4-0. And then from there we've really kind of started figuring it out, and again we're in every game, we're battling, and we're coming out with results, and I think that's um a hallmark of good teams, right? You're going to be in competitive games, and it's figuring out how to get that one goal advantage, how to get a result. Obviously we've got the top three teams in the district are us, New Braunfels, Piper, by standings. And of course, our last two games are against Piper, New Braunfels for the first round. So a lot can change in our district very quickly. But we're looking forward to the challenge. And like I said, I've been really proud of the boys and their um, their ability to win. And again, I think winning is a skill, 100%. And I think it can plague teams who have trouble, having consistent success, or they have it for here, but then they can't find it there. And
Hmm.
it's something that we really instill in all of our programs at Bernie High School. But I think it's really helped carry us through some of these really tough games that in our district. And as you know, I mean, any night, any team can win.
Right.
And so to be able to get result after result after result, it's 100% a skill. It's not luck. It's not a fluke.
Yeah. So this is year two, right? Year two of making the jump from 4A to 5A.
Hmm.
What helped you the most? Maybe one or two things from year one that has really started to kind of pay off this year in year two. When you look back on it, anything in particular?
I think it just goes back into having high expectations. I just we've always played 6A schools. We've always played 5A schools in preseason games, and that's when we were 4A. But it's always having high expectations that no matter who we step foot on the field with, that we're going to compete. And it starts with effort. It starts with defense. Add some quality. Hopefully, you've got some skill in there. But if you've got effort and the willingness to defend, and as a team to defend, you can play with anybody. And so we're firm believers in that at Bernie. And that's kind of a hallmark of our program. And so yeah, I mean that's really carried us from 4A to 5A and helped us stay in a competitive mode. Obviously, every game is that much more difficult. And that's no knock on 4A, but I tell people the difference between 4A and 5A a lot of times is in 4A, if you can field 11 good players without any real weak link, and you've got one, maybe two special kids, you're going to have a really good year. 5A, it's every kid on the field's got to be good, and you've got to have a few special ones, and you have to have two or three on the bench that are pretty good,
Mm.
And so it really just comes to that the amount, the layers of talent that you have. And that's the biggest thing I've seen going from 4A to 5A. And so yeah, it's a challenge. It's fun. The boys, it used to be, like, oh, we wish it was playoffs already, and I don't hear that anymore. It's every district game is a battle. And I don't care if
Right.
you're playing, and look at the results. If you're playing the last team in the district or the first place team in the district, anything can happen, and it's a roller coaster. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And you knew, so as you were entering 5A, you knew you had the proverbial group of death, right, in Region 4, or maybe if not one, if not the most, the second toughest, right? That can definitely be argued. But what has maybe surprised you about your district? And now here you are in year two, the district that you're in, which is incredibly tough. What has surprised you the most about this district?
It wasn't all talk. It's hard.
Right.
It's tough. But no, I think it's fun seeing the different, you got the Comal schools, right? You got Smithson Valley and Piper, you got Bernie Champion, you sprinkle in a little Wagner and Betts, some Tivy and Heights. And it's just very interesting seeing um I don't know, like just the different regions there, right, of the schools and how they kind of do follow I don't say like a mold or a path, but it's they all kind of have their own identity of where they so the Comal, the Bernies, and I thought that's just kind of interesting, kind of cool.
Yeah.
But no, it's tough, it's fun, it's a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and then kind of your to piggyback off that question or to elaborate, getting to play champion is that just
Yeah.
throws a wrench into everything, right?
Right.
We
Right.
weren't allowed to play before. Now we weren't allowed. We were encouraged not to play before
Encouraged
to
not
keep the peace. But now it's the gloves are off. It's Ivan Drago versus Rocky Balboa, and yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. I have not had any negative experience being a part of this rivalry, and those are
Mhm.
the healthiest ones, right? And
Yeah.
and the most fun. And so it's been really enjoyable to get to play against Coach Gold and Champion and Coach Tierney. Or we didn't get to play against Coach Tierney actually. Sorry, that's wishful thinking. But it's just been a lot of fun, and I think it's been good for the community, Bernie Soccer Club,
Right.
etc.
Right.
Getting to see the two schools go against each other, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Good deal. Steve-O, you got any questions for Coach?
Yeah, well, first off, congrats on the season so far. I've been following you guys, and like you mentioned, y'all put some great results. I know y'all got a challenge this Friday, right? A big challenge. You got someone coming to Bernie, right?
Hmm.
Piper.
They've had a lot of success in this district for a good while now, and we would love to compete with them
Yeah,
for the for the district championship, and with them going 6A next year, I've told our boys, hey, like we're not going to get another shot at winning this district,
yeah,
right? Last year we came up short, and it was a big goal of ours going from
Yeah.
4A to 5A. We didn't want to. I didn't want to be that 4A or school that moves up in classification. It's like, oh well, this welcome to the big leagues. That wasn't gonna fly for us. And so we came up a little bit short last year. We got second in the district, which very proud of.
yeah,
But yeah, we're not going to get this opportunity again to win this district. It's going to change big time, and it'll never be the same.
Hmm.
And so yeah, big game on Friday. Real big
yeah,
game.
yeah. I was at that game last year, and was impressed with both squads. But I might find myself in Bernie this Friday. So
Ooh, it's exciting. Well, let me know, and I'll get you some VIP tickets.
okay, right on. And so going over one other question, going over y'all's, some of y'all's results, and I got my little spreadsheets that I keep on my end, and I take notes of all the scores and stuff. But 5-4 and Kerrville Tivy, what like? I'm kind of curious to know what happened there with and high scoring match. Yeah,
High scoring match. Tyvon's got some kids who can play. They
yeah,
are, um, a lot of tragedy happened last year there,
right.
and so for them to come out, and it was the first district game
Mm-hmm.
since obviously for the year, and I was as a coach, I was very proud of their team to get to see them come out the way they came out. I told them that
Yeah.
afterwards as well. I told them that Coach Dunker was damn proud to be their coach, and he would have been really proud of their performance on that night.
Right.
Um, they got some kids who can play, and them going down to 4A. Look out,
I know.
Davenport, Bandera,
I know.
Fredericksburg.
I know.
I
Yeah.
don't, and sorry
Waverly.
guys, but hey, shout out to Bandera. Let's give a big shout out to Bandera
Right
leading
on.
the district.
Yeah.
26 4As. I got to give Coach Miller some props there. Hopefully he sees this. But yeah, our games have been. We've got to score more goals than the other team. I mean, in that any sport, but we've embodied that this year. And whether it's 5-4, 3-2, 2-1,
Yeah.
we've found a way. But we changed over our goalkeeper. I've got I think I've got four new backs in the back.
Well,
So my
Wow.
back five are
Wow.
brand new
Yeah.
to the
Wow.
to the starting positions. So there's going to be growing pains, but I've been really impressed and proud of their growth, and it seems like we're starting to kind of find our find our footing, find our tempo, and they're starting to play really well together.
nice. Very good.
Rafa? Rafa, you got anything for Coach?
Yeah, coach. So now looking forward to next year. So now with the realignment, when you saw it, now that the group of death is getting kind of broken up, um, how do you feel about being now probably you and Champion being kind of the top with, and also with Alamo Heights kind of be the top dogs in that district, and then you have newcomers Harlandale, McCullum, and South End in. So how do you feel about going into next season?
You left one off, Jay.
Jay,
Jay
oh, and
is
also Jay too. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
who,
So
who,
it's
who, Oh, shout out to Harry. He's out there in Eagle Pass right now because they're winning 5-2 right now. So
Now it's over.
Yeah, they man,
J
I tell
one
you
eight
what.
eight three. I think J1. It's a final.
3. Okay, okay.
Um, I think McCollum would also have an argument for you. I think they beat Champion earlier in the year. Um,
Mm,
so what I'll say is this: I don't think on paper, sure, it looks more manageable. We'll say, right? Maybe
right, right.
maybe instead of every game being a playoff game, maybe now it's like back to maybe more of a hey, big brother, little brother can still win, but big brother should win kind of thing, right? But again, I would caution everyone: look at some results. Look at McCollum versus Champion. Look at what Jay's doing. I be careful what you wish for, right? Is the
Right.
saying. But no, I think it's going to be a lot of fun getting some new blood into the district, and kind of like you guys were talking about earlier. You start looking at um, your first round, and it's interesting. The first round playoff is now going to be against this district we're currently in. So it gets pretty spicy pretty quick. So no, we're excited. New district. Soccer just keeps getting better and better. Back when I played in 04, it's incredible the level of progress that's been made, and it's just going to continue to improve. And when with that level of improvement, the gap between schools really does start to close. And I think that's y'all call our district the group of death. Look at some of these results though recently. Wagner just lost 3-4 to Smithson Valley. We just tied Smithson Valley. Smithson Valley is currently a playoff team. Wagner's second to last in the standings. Wagner and Vets, though, tied. The gap isn't here. I'm trying to do this on camera. The gap's not here, right? The
It's
gap is
closing.
right there, right? And whether that's mentality, culture, winning culture, expectations, I don't think I don't think it's always talent. You know.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Coach, can you hear us still?
Oh yeah, I can still
You
hear you.
got me?
Sorry.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Well, hey, that's great break on any given. The parity you see it on the boy side is incredibly tight. Regardless of district, regardless of region. I was just having this conversation with Coach Rush, Rob Rush, or my boy's counterpart there at Canyon the other day. Right, we were talking about how he genuinely feels in our district on the boys side that anybody can beat anybody on any game. You show up with a bad night, and you're going to be in for it's going to be a long night, right? So yeah, great points. And by the way, VIP tickets, what the hell? I've been covering your games forever. I never got no VIP tickets, man. What?
Steve's gonna
Man,
be out in Bernie.
you're
All right.
killing
Have
me,
you?
dude. You're
When's the last
killing me.
time you've been in Bernie?
You're
That's
killing
right.
me. You're killing me. Well,
It's been a
he,
while,
he
right? Since
he
we
used to
went
have
over there.
he
It was
used to have the
cold.
gold jacket for most appearances on this podcast. So gold jacket has been revoked. No, we're talking with Coach Michael Strong, head men's soccer coach of the Bernie Greyhounds. Coach, so we hit on a lot of these schools, right? On your soon-to-be district, 26-5A. The likes of Champion, Jay, Heights, to name a few. But I can tell you, you're spot on when you start. As someone who played my 2 years at Mac, I played in two different districts, right?
MacArthur too.
So right, Harlandale, McCollum, South San, those are schools, man. That they just you show up. If you look past them, they're gonna make you pay. They're gonna make you pay. So yeah, I couldn't be more right on that. And I know oftentimes it can sound like coach speak or what have you when some other people are in tougher districts. But yeah, just you're so spot on when you talk about be careful what you wish for, right? So
The last thing I will say though, all of Region 4 should be rejoicing. Piper, Southwest, Legacy, Cedar Park, Liberty Hill, see ya.
all
Right?
gone,
Like I mean,
all
at
gone.
Region 4 as a whole, for those of us who are staying in there, it's not too bad.
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
got the Brownsville teams. So,
Yeah, okay, Rafa, let's I
Rafa,
know, I know. All
Rafa
right.
now
Benito,
that
Not
now that
no,
now that
yeah,
Hannah's moving down, that's my
yeah.
dad's alma mater. Now
Rafa,
they've
here
been
we go. Here
they've been
we go.
struggling.
I knew it.
They've been
I knew it.
struggling, but
I
I
knew
think
it.
for them it's a good
I
move for
knew
them
it. I
because
knew
they've
it.
been hurting for
Rafa,
years.
right now we're trying to get to the Brownsville teams, all right? We got to get through the Cedar Parks, Liberty Hills. All right, then I can worry about Porter, Lopez, Rivetta,
Yeah,
Hannah, all
yeah.
right?
Coach, if you've been watching this show long enough to know that Rafa, It's like death, taxes, and the mention of Brownsville School. It's
Well, I
mad.
told
Really
Rafa to
mad.
pull his shirt down a little. I'm pretty sure it says Brownsville
I
across
know
his,
it's good.
his
Oh yeah,
collar.
yeah. I know. I know. I know. I know. Yeah.
It is like, well, my uncle still needs to send me because he works at Brownsville Pace. I said, "Oh, hey, you need to send me a Pace soccer shirt. What's up with that?"
So, Coach, you look at the landscape. Maybe let's say Region 4, 5A, right? The new what will be the new districts next year, the realignment or the projected, right? Soccer is not 100%
Sure,
official.
sure.
What got your attention? What surprised you outside of where you all landed? What kind of surprised you when you start looking at some of the other districts? And obviously you knew who was going up, right? 6A and all that. But aside from that, what surprised you? Anything?
Um, I think just the way that like our current district, SAISD, and the Southwest district, we'll call it right now, the current one, how we all kind of, they just shuffled us all up and then spit us back out. I thought was, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we're gonna match up in the playoffs,
Mm.
I think is also very interesting.
Mm.
And again, obviously, big parts, Liberty Hill, Cedar Park's going to Region 3. But I think it feels to me more regional now, right? Especially since we've been in the district with Smithson Valley, New Braunfels, the Dragons going 5A.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun that we're going to get to play them first round now. And I think will be some real healthy soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll make it a lot of fun, some interesting storylines. Whether there's bad blood's not the word I want to use, but some old rivalries. It's like, hey, we've been removed for a year in district play, but we just matched back up with New Braunfels, right? New Braunfels is really good, by the way, this year, guys. If you haven't
Yeah, yeah, they're
noticed,
playing great. They're playing great.
we've got our eye on them. They're going to be really
Yeah,
good. But
they're playing great.
getting to maybe see them then first round, things get pretty spicy pretty quick. And then you got SISD who can throw a dark horse in there at any time. And so now it's no one's guaranteed to play Porter, Lopez, Hannah for you, Rafa. So yeah, it's exciting. And again, to me, I think the biggest surprise just it feels more regional
Yeah.
without the Austin schools.
Right, right. Well, I can promise you this, Coach. Next year, if you all match up and end up playing Lockhart in the first round, Rafa's probably going to request that you play it at Lockhart, right? So he can get in his barbecue because somehow that's
Black.
the other thing. He's in Lockhart every week as well. So just saying. But yeah, maybe we can hook up make some VIP tickets. I'll be there too, Coach. All right,
Well, that's what I
VIP
was saying
tickets.
too. I wouldn't mind flipping home and home now, right? Like, it's like we play New
Yeah,
Braunfels
yeah,
all the time. Like, and again, at Lockhart, we haven't played there, but I'm not, I'm less, I'm more willing to flip home and home first round than I would be probably this year with, Liberty Hill, Cedar Park,
right.
whoever
Yeah,
else comes out
yeah,
there. So yeah,
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 yeah.
could add some spice to it.
Yeah, there you go. We are talking to Coach Michael Strong, the head men's soccer coach of the Bernie Greyhounds. And Coach, give us a plug again. Who do you got on Friday? What time? Where at?
We got Piper at 7:15 at Bernie High School. They have not lost a district game in quite some time. Reminds me a lot of us at the 4A level. So we are very excited for the opportunity to go out there and compete with them. Um, and to plug you guys, again, I'm so thankful for the content that you guys bring to the space, um the exposure that you guys give to high school student athletes, the sport, coaches, their programs. It is it's just really cool. It's we live in a great day and age where we can have this conversation, talk soccer on an off night. And no, I'm just so thankful for you guys. So thank you
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely. Appreciate you, Coach. Thank you for the kind words. And I mean, you're right. We've come a long way from what was that, going on 6 years, 5 years,
Mhm.
a little over 5 years,
Whew.
right? I
It's
remember
almost my
just
coaching career.
yeah, different I know. Tell me about it. So, a couple of different platforms that are covering the sport, helping grow the sport, and we're proud to be able to just be a small part of it. So, for sure. So,
It's awesome.
Coach, always appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Wishing you and your boys the absolute best in your current district as well as your future district, and look forward to having you join us again sometime in the future.
Thank you, Coach. Best to you and your girls, and Rafa and Steve. Best to you guys and everything that y'all do.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
brother.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, brother. Be safe. Have a good one, Coach.
See you guys.
What a great guy, man. Can talk with him forever. So,
Yeah.
special thanks to Coach Strong again. Thoughts? Anything pique your interest on what he said?
Should be a fun game Friday. I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's gonna be the barn burner of the week, and I think the Bernie boys are up for the challenge. And I would not be surprised if they get a win. Like I said, I think when you win those really close games, those 1-0, 2-1 games, it really builds a lot of confidence in your team and stuff, and learning to hang on to like leads and stuff.
hmm
I think they're ready for the challenge. I think they learned a lot from last year. This year they got 1 year under their belt, and if I'm Piper, I better not take them lightly. And like I said, I won't be surprised if they come out. Bernie comes out with a win.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
because you see them start to get that experience. You see it time and time again where you've got a team that's dominating a district and, 8-0, 10-0, or, even in football, just dominating. And then, when the other team punches back, then it's kind of like, oh man, it's kind of like when Rocky, hit the Russian, Ivan Drago, and it's like, man, okay. And what do you do then, right? So another team, your team's on an off night, and they put a goal or two in, and like, how does your team respond to that? So his team has been responding to that. They're right there, near the top of the table with Piper, and that's going to be yeah, that's one of those games that I kind of circled a couple weeks ago, leading into and now it's here in a couple days, and if I get the opportunity, yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to make that trip to Bernie to go watch that.
Yeah, Steve-O, we're getting you. We can make it out. You're coming in a little buggy. Your audio, it's a little scratchy, a little buggy, but just
Okay.
FYI.
All right.
But no, all good. Just want to let you know. All
Mhm.
right, so I wish we would have caught this when Coach Strong was on. So, kind of a loaded question here. I feel like someone's searching for a possible answer. Who do you all think is the best San Antonio soccer 5A team at the moment? So,
Boys or girls?
yeah, he didn't specify. Did not specify.
I guess for boys, I think it's still Southwest until someone knocks them off. But you got, like I said, you got others. Like I said, Bernie,
hmm
Piper. Um, you know, I think those are probably two you could keep an eye on. Jay's starting to get hot right now, so
They
I'd
are. They
keep
are.
an eye on them.
They're playing well.
They only lost to Southwest 3-1. So and you saw how Southwest was beating the crap out of teams last year. I mean, like they were scoring in bunches. This year,
Mhm.
the little more competitive games, I think they've kind of closed some of that gap. And I
Yeah.
think as far as the girls, yeah, it's got to be
Yeah, 5A, it's not even a question on the
it's
girls' side.
Piston Valley. I mean,
It's not even a question. Yeah, yeah.
it's them. But you got other ones. Like I said, you do have a Piper team,
Mhm,
even though, like I said, they lost to
mhm.
them. Even the Southwest Dragon girls. I think they're still a good squad too. I think
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah.
they're a good squad.
And
And
they're adjusting to a new
mhm,
coach too, out
mhm.
there in Southwest on the girls' side. So got Coach Heyman's in here, 50-50 pod tonight. I guess my invitation got lost. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Coach Heyman, I am mad that you're disappointed. How about that? So appreciate you listening, brother. Uh, awesome. All right, it is about that time. So we're going to shift gears here. We're going to talk about Rafa's realignment losers and realignment winners. All right, Rafa, why don't you set the table for this while I bring this up?
So just look back from the realignment, all this chaos, and see kind of like I guess, little scenarios. Who were the big winners and who were the big losers out of this? So I kind of picked the five for each, and like I said, that's what kind of I felt after I saw the list. Like I said, at 9 a.m. on Monday, and I
hmm
came up with this. This would be I think the winners, the losers list.
Yeah, this is our losers list here. So yeah, let me get us going here. So Rafa wanted to kind of make I kind of told him, it's like, hey, what do you think? What are your thoughts? See if you can come up with five big takeaways on the positive side, on the negative side. It wasn't necessarily linked to one particular school, right? But Rafa, take us through this first one. A little bit more explanation here. So
Yeah, so the first one that caught my eye was the Dallas area, especially 6A. You got your Louisville Marcus Hebrons and like I said, Flowermont. Like I said, it just got tougher with now with Wakeland coming in. El Cucoy is gonna make its
Mhm.
presence now with the boys and the girls.
Right.
So that's gonna be that's gonna be some fun games to watch, and then if you look at six A, Dallas Jesuit, which is making making that move, and also with Prosper Walnut Grove, like I said, they're gonna make things a lot tougher on the boys' side. I think that's and then those two districts facing each other in the playoffs, it's going to be kind of like we're at the scenario right now with 25 5A and 26
Mhm.
6A. You're going to have kind of the same scenarios. Like you're going to have a really good team lose in the first round that could probably be a state. Like I said, it's like a state final,
Yeah.
a
I
regional
mean,
final game in the first round.
yeah, 5, 5, 6, and 7A, and 5, 6, and 7, 6A. Good Lord, I was looking at it. It's
Mhm.
just to be in Region One is gonna be. I mean, I- as if it wasn't brutal enough already. Now you got the likes of Frisco Wakeland in there, and Walnut Grove. Who makes that leap to 6A.
Prosper with Allen.
Right, right. Yeah. So very interesting. So again, his first one, Rafa. So District 5, 6A, and 6A just got tougher with the additions of Frisco Wakeland and Dallas Jesuit, both in 5 and 6A respectively, as well as Prosper Walnut Grove in 6A. All right, coach, take us through our second one here. So no more Austin metro area schools in which we just talked about in Region 4, 5A.
Mhm. So that's kind of like the loser out of this is just those great matchups we get in that between 25 5A and 26 6A. It's like I said, you have the Liberty Hills, we have your defending state champs Cedar Park, and then like, you flip down on the boys' side, same thing with the Liberty Hill boys. Um, you're kind of losing that. I'm sure our San Antonio teams are probably happy about that, so they're probably the big winners for that. But as us as soccer fans, we love those big games, especially on that first round. So that's like I said, it's kind of a loss there, losing those Austin area teams. We're now kind of shifting over now to Region 3.
Mhm. Yeah. And then our third one here. So third loser here, District 3, 5A is a 10-team district. Talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'm sure Kevin's going to be loaded for next year.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, that Panhandle district just got tougher. I
And
mean,
I
it's
think that's what was that not what he was alluding to, what he was
mhm.
thinking, right? I think that's what he was saying, right?
Yeah, he wasn't too sure. Maybe if one of those Wichita Falls teams, I think he did maybe just being part of that. But
Right.
like I said, so now, yeah, like I said, you basically have the Amarillo versus Lubbock area. I mean, you got Amarillo High, Tascosa, uh, Lubbock, Monterey, Coronado. Then you throw in Friendship and also Friendship's youth school, the Memorial. uh, Boys and girls has just got, and especially there with the weather they have there. So, playing a long 19, like I said,
Right.
18 game district,
Yeah. Yeah.
losing out on because of the weather games could complicate some things. So, um, it's to start district right away. It's going to be tough for
Mhm.
them. So they won't maybe get the preparation like some of these teams get on because I know like Amarillo and all go head out east to the Dallas area for kind of like non-district games that get prepared. It's going to
Mhm.
be a little tight window for that because, like I said, you're going to have to get into the gauntlet with this district.
Yeah, and I think if I recall, so when we had Coach Burkhead on, right, from Lubbock Cooper, I think this is precisely what he was anticipating. I know what he was hoping for, but I think he was specifically naming this, right? And outside of what maybe West Plains, if West Plains would have been bumped up, I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so interesting to see how that district unfolds. So yeah, and then so we look at our fourth one here, Coach. So Region 3, 4A boys soccer becomes more challenging with Palestine moving into the region. Other contenders to include Lumberton, Huffman Hargrave, Navasota, Salado, and El Campo. Tell us more about that, Coach.
So if you look at the boys side, I know 4A hasn't really officially come out with their realignment yet, but if you're looking you have a pretty good idea who's going to be in there, kind of based on the basketball one and volleyball one. With Palestine moving over from Region 2, because like I said, they've kind of been one of the dominant teams in Region 2. Now they're shifting over to Region 3, and they got they're gonna have to face some teams that like I said, like Lumberton, Huffman, and Navasota, Salado, who's the defending state champ. El Campo had a great season, so it just made things a lot more difficult there in that region, and it's going to be interesting who else. Like I said, some of those other maybe up and coming, some other company 3A teams like a little shout to like Berkshire Royal. That's another team to kind of keep an eye on. That's kind of making some noise. So it's just make things a lot, like I said, a lot tougher for Region 3 for 4A.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, and 4A is still very much up in the air. We're going to talk
Mhm.
about that a little bit more, but yeah, so very interesting. So, halftime score here. Well, this one's probably well into the second half at this point, but out of the Houston area, Katy Seven Lakes 3, Maid Creek boys soccer score, Maid Creek 0. That was at the half, but that was also about 30 minutes ago. So, all right, and then our fourth one here, Coach. 4A will have a lot of 10 districts with 3A and 2A teams. This is very much what we mean by 4A is still a work in progress. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so this is something actually me and Harry discussed on Monday. So we did our little realignment show, and he brought this up about especially in the valley. You have all those idea schools and some of the other charter schools. You know, and then you have some some 2As also, like for example, like Center Point. They're gonna play varsity soccer. They're gonna be in the district more likely with that Kerrville district with Fredericksburg, Bandera. It's like I said, how is the UIL going to be able to fit all these teams? And we may end up seeing a lot of 10 district teams because of being one of the unique situations on being in 4A, because you're also bringing up two teams from 3A and 2A, and it's all being mixed up. You don't see that problem with 5A or 6A.
Right.
This is so is this maybe kind of the eye opener for them to realize that, hey, maybe we do need for these districts for 4A is make that split to D1 and D2. Is this going to lead to that having too many, kind of avoiding having those 10 team districts?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Steve-O, any reattacks on Rafa, with Rafa on these? Any of these? Any of these?
No, I mean, I'll be honest. I've been kind of out of the loop with the whole realignment thing. I did catch a little bit of the SA Soccer Roundtable the other night. Well, listening to it last night on the way back from my from the Southwest and Southwest Legacy match. But yeah, no, it's pretty on par for.
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. Okay, so we will move on. So we will shift gears now. We'll go on the positive side here. So 2026 to 2028 realignment winners, according to Rafa here, based upon number of factors that he's going to take us through here. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to look at these five. First one is 26 5A, no longer the group of death, which we talked about with Smithson Valley and New Braunfels in 25 5A, and Bernie Champion and Elmo Heights in 26 5A.
Yeah.
So kind of a kind of self-explanatory, but
Mhm.
anything else you want to add to that, Rafa?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, those, like I said, when we first saw it 2 years ago, when we saw this, the group of this was the group of death, and we knew there were going to be some very exciting teams. And like you mentioned, Coach Strong mentioned, this is a very deep district. If they catch you in an off front, they're going to beat you. Any team can beat you and so forth. Um, Honestly, when I saw in the realignment, I really thought maybe Bernie was going to stay with kind of with Simpson Valley, kind of the whole kind of the rivalry, the Highway 46 rivalry, but
Hmm.
never
Yeah.
expected them to kind of get split. But that's the case here, but what it does bring is, like he mentioned, there's going to be some good matchups in the first round of the playoffs. So, like I said, I think that's going to be some good things. Some winners there out of that. So maybe some more opportunities for some of the other teams to finally get into and try to get into the playoffs as well.
Yeah. Updating the score since I just plugged it in a little while ago. It is a final. Out of the Houston area, Katy Seven Lakes 6, Maid Creek 1. That is a final. So any other finals out there that are being played tonight, send them our way. All right, send them in the comments. We'll be sure to plug them on here. So, all right, our second one, Coach, District 28 5A, saying adios to the Southwest boys, and as they make their ascension to 36A. So, thoughts on? I guess it's kind of twofold, right? Is
Yeah.
what with them being gone, who kind of we talked about it a little bit, but who kind of takes the reins now, and then what does Southwest do navigating the 6A world?
So, with Southwest moving up, like I said, they've had a stranglehold for this district for a number of years,
For a
and
long time, yeah.
for a long time. So now, like I said, they're moving up to 6A. They're gonna go up to, I know, which I'll talk about 36A in a bit. So that leaves, like I said, currently, you have Medina Valley, who's moving down from 6A to 5A, which could be one of the favorites. And then you have CC Eagle Pass CC Win. And then you have San Antonio Southside, who's had some good positive results. Like I said, they actually had Southwest down at the half before Southwest kind of roared back. But the wild cards out of this is the three Laredo schools, and especially with Martin and Nixon. Those are
Right, right,
those are
right.
probably going to be your two favorites now going into as far as winning the district title. I also think maybe Medina Valley can also kind of compete with it. I know they're having a little rough season right now in 36A, like I said, but I think they'll be in contention, and maybe there's an opportunity also for maybe CC Win. I know they've had some struggles the last few years. Could this be an opportunity for them? So this is going to be a kind of a not too much one clear favorite. I think anybody could beat anybody, but right now, like this, I said, on paper, it said Nixon and Martin probably going to be the favorites. And then on the flip side, like I said, Southwest going to the 36A. They're going into a tough district. You got Coach Strong mentioned about Laredo Alexander. You got the team that beat them this year was Laredo United. So those are going to be some fun games to watch. My alma mater, my former team, they're going to play against Del Rio. So I think, like I said, they should be fine moving up to 6A. I think they're probably, I think, still think be the favorite for that district. But they'll, like I said, they're going to be maybe a little tighter games, but I think it should be good, and we'll see what they do, because now with that route, you do have to play the Valley teams in the first two rounds
Right,
of the
right.
playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. Good deal. Okay, so we move on to our third one here. So, District 11 4A, as they say, adios, and we'll help you pack your bags to the Salina women's soccer as they move up to 9 5A. So, same thing, similar to Southwest, right? Is
Mhm.
who takes the reins in that region, right? Once Salina is gone after so much dominance, right, for half a decade, who takes the reins in that district, that region, and then how does Salina? I have a feeling Salina is going to settle in just fine in 5A.
Yeah, as far as the reigns of District 9, like I said, Solano's had pretty much a stranglehold, in which they still do right now. Um, Favorite to win their fifth chip before moving on to 5A, and I'm sure the teams, when they saw the district, like, hey, and I know they knew they were going to move up to 5A. So, but like I said, who was going to be the one to maybe kind of take their spot? And it's going to be competitive. We'll see
Right.
what other teams move in. Maybe you'll see some 3As. I think Aubrey's probably going to one that's going to benefit out of this. Maybe Ponder. Those are probably two teams to kind of keep an eye on. As far as winning that district, and then Salina moving up to 5A, and then they're going up to District 9 too as well. There's gonna be some tough games. The one game I'm probably circling for next year is gonna be that Salina versus Lucas Lovejoy game. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be a really good one, and also that we have Melissa too, who used to be 4A and they're now 5A. So some good, and another good Anna team too. Kind of keep an eye on. Like I said, they're in
Yeah.
5A. So that's a District 9 5A is going to want to be to kind of keep an eye on, because you got some. I know they're in Region 2. I know you got a couple of the Friscos there. You know, you still have like Emerson, Lebanon Trail, a couple of other ones there. But it's, like I said, it's gonna be very interesting. How things turn out when it comes to if Salina can still make that long run in 5A.
Gotcha. At number 4, so fewer challenges for Elif Elsik in 26A as Straight Jesuit moves on to 21 6A, and Full Shear is headed to 23 6A. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I mean, LA Flags here, like I said, they had a handful, like I said, with Houston Straight Jesuit and also with Full Shear. And uh, coming next year, like I said, those teams, like I said, Straight Jesuit moving out to 21, which it's going to be a little tough for them, because, like I said, they're going against some of the Fort Bend schools. You got Ridge Point there, going to keep an eye on them. Full Shear, which is a part of the Lamar Consolidated. They have, like I said, their sister schools with Foster and George Ranch. They're going to be competing against Bridgeland and Cy Park, and then you could mention the first round of the playoffs could be Austin Vandergriff or Cedar Park or Leander. So Alief is going to is now going to be competing against teams from the Houston ISD. So like I said, they're going to probably be the clear favorite for District 20. You still have some good teams that keep an eye on that Houston Lamar team, maybe that Houston West Side. They've had some history in the past with some good squads, but like I said, I think the benefit LFL is going to benefit from this is not going to be too much of a demand when it comes to as far as district play. They just have some contenders there, but not as what they have right now. But I think they'll be a little bit fresher going into the playoffs.
Mm. Well, and sometimes having those fewer challenges comes back to bite you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? To be your last battle tested come playoff time, it can kind of cut both ways. So it's again,
and
it's
that's
kind of one of those be
what you
careful
wish
what you
for.
ask for. Yeah, what
And
you wish
that's why
for.
you schedule tough non-district games. You don't shy away from anybody. So you go play who you need to play because that's going to prepare you for the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah, yeah. And then our last one here. So we talk about 26-6A as they say adios to both Lake Travis and Austin Westlake. And what was another big surprise, right, in the realignment release as they shift them over to 25-6A with the Round Rock ISD schools. How much did this one surprise you?
I was really surprised about this. I honestly thought Lake Travis and Westlake was going to end up, which in reality should have ended up in District 24, because that's like I said, with the Leander ISD schools, just based on geography. Because if you look at Georgetown, Eastview, and Hutto, they're right next to Ron Rock. I
Right.
mean, like Cedar Ridge is just down the road from Hutto High School, and Eastview is just up the road. That caught me by surprise. It's like, did someone
Yeah.
get a gift here or there or whatever? But we came to realignment. But
Doing some
um,
geography.
some geography, or they failed geography, one or the
Yeah,
other.
I know.
But for Westlake and like Travis moving to 20, to 25-5A, it's still going to be a tough one, even for the boys and the girls. I mean, because you got some great teams. You got Westwood, you got especially like I said on the girls side, you got the Westwood girls, you got the Round Rock girls. They've had some wars with those two teams. And
Correct.
boys side same thing too as well. I'm sure 6A is happy. So I'm sure Austin Bowie's happy about that. Dripping Springs is happy about that. Those are probably going to be your two favorites. As far as
Yeah.
for boys soccer, girls. I know the
We
Austin
know
High girls are doing
we know
well
Cedar
right
Park is happy about that.
now.
So
Yeah, yeah, them too. they're not they're not to worry about those two. So, um, like I said, still, and then like I said, you might have some matchups. Like I said, like a matchup of Dripping Springs and maybe or Austin Bowie versus like Travis Westlake in the first round of the playoffs. So it's kind of the same thing, kind of same scenario we were doing for this year too. You got some tough matchups in that first round.
yeah, girl. Steve-O, how about this one? Anything on the realignment winners? Oh, is he muted?
Did he freeze? I think he's muted.
Is
Yeah.
he muted? Yeah, I guess he's muted somehow. That's weird. I don't know if he's self-muted. Steve-O, can you hear us? He might have frozen.
Yeah.
He might
No,
have.
he's
Sorry,
there. He is.
I was on
Yeah,
mute. My
there we go.
apologies.
Looks like you're moving. Steve,
No,
you can hear us?
yes,
Looks
yes.
like you're moving, but we can't. We lost your audio.
Oh, can you hear me now?
That's weird. I'll then jump back in. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah.
Here
Okay.
we go. There
Are
you
you
go.
able
There
Are
you
you
go.
able to hear me now or no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
we got you.
Okay. All right. No, I think Rafa covered it in great detail. So, but I like I said, I know he did Harry and him did a whole show on it on the roundtable on Monday. So
Yeah. Okay. Good deal.
fantastic.
Awesome. So that is going to do it for both our winners and our losers here. So we're going to come right back shortly. Don't go anywhere. But before we do, we're going to give you a quick promo here from our partners. Here we go. Quick promo from our partners. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. In the market for a new home, or maybe you'd just like to get more information, Then let us tell you about our new proud partner and title sponsor, Jeanette Spain at TexasVeteranRealtor.com, your go-to realtor for military and veteran families in Central Texas. With her cover and move I've got your six approach, you focus on the move while she handles the contracts, the deadlines, and even the details. Want a realtor who works like you and fights for you? Then you need to visit Jeanette Spain at TexasVeteranRealtor.com for your free no pressure strategy session. Again, that's Jeanette Spain at TexasVeteranRealtor.com, as well as at 737-210-5812. And then there are our great friends at Gipper. Gipper is a way that schools, athletic departments, ADs, and coaches create world-class marketing content. Join over 4,000 coaches and ADs and use Gipper to create high-quality, visual branded graphics for your program. The best part, anyone can do it in seconds on any device without needing any design experience whatsoever. If you do have significant experience in this process, then this is designed for you as well, as you are what they call the power user. Listeners of the 50/50 podcast can now receive 10% off any first-time Gipper purchase. Simply visit gipper.com/partner/5050 to learn more. Again, that's gipper.com/partner/5050 to learn more. All right, and we are back. It is episode 6 of season 6, Inside Texas High School Soccer. And we're going to go back. We're going to look at now. So we're going to kind of brief breakdown of 6A and 5A. Take a look at 4A briefly. But we're going to kind of look at the 4 regions of the new recently released realignment. And because it is not 100% official for soccer, we won't see that for really about another 2 months. We will default to the volleyball. We're going to go ahead and just look at volleyball because it's pretty much identical image for 6A and 5A. Thoughts on this, Rafa, as I bring this up?
It was just, like I said, when I first saw it, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be pretty interesting to,
Yeah.
you know, what some matchups. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, you're gonna see some games like, hey, I'm not saying dream matchups, but you know, it's like, hey, this is gonna probably be like one heck of a game. You know, just to watch. You know, some of the programs, which I'll kind of touch on in a bit.
Mm-hmm. So when we look at these, right? So we're looking at the four regions of, and of course this is specifically the volleyball alignment. But in case you're wondering why are they looking at volleyball, is soccer will pretty much look just like this across 6A and 5A. 4A still tricky, very much tricky, and we'll allude to that again in a minute. And Rafa mentioned that earlier. So again, this breaks down into 32 districts, 8 districts per region, and they try to play geography here, but they always, as we know, every year, if there's one thing the UIL is good at, it's always throwing a curveball or two somewhere across the whole realignment process, or specifically within a classification, whether it be 6A, 5A, 4A. This year, it seemed like it was about 5A drove a lot of the stuff that impacted both 4A and 6A. So the big one here, right, Coach? So the shift, right, of what we see in District 24 and the Austin schools going to Region 3. Now they have to contend with the Houston schools. Thoughts beyond what we've already talked about? Any additional thoughts, or what was your first thought when you saw this?
So yeah, with the Austin schools, like I said, they were, you know, we weren't sure. Like I said, like I mentioned, like with Lake Travis and Westlake, I didn't know which ones were going to end up, but I knew one of those Austin districts had to be in Region 3. You know, because the whole area is growing, and you notice how in the valley you're seeing less and less 6A schools. So I honestly thought maybe sooner or later there's going to be probably 3 districts from the Austin area, probably in Region 4. But for the meantime, they had to fit this one in. It's going to be tough. I mean, you know, Vandergrift and I know the boys and the girls, great programs. Same thing with Cedar Park next year. You know, Vista Ridge had a great season last year. I think Leander girls right now are having a great season. It's gonna be tough in that first round because you got Bridgeland, you got Fulshire, but then when you get to second round, you got the Katy ISD teams, and then you also have Ridge Point, and it's gonna be, and then for the boys side also you have Houston Straight Jesuit too, so it's just tough, and even at the top, the top end of it, you still got Kingwood, Atascocita, Deer Park, and then you have ALE L6. So it's it just made things a lot tougher for, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, to come out of that district, I mean, coming out of that region, you know, you're gonna have to win some big games.
Yeah, and one of the things going into this realignment release, I pretty much knew, like my group, my girls, Canyon. I pretty much knew where we were going to be. Right. What I was curious to see, not just for us, but in general, as to how much the districts would shift, right, and how they would be swapped, and which impacts the pathway, right. So when you start talking about the state playoffs, so, and I feel like that's the underlying story here that always seems to get overlooked, right? Not until people finally see their district and then they start to realize, oh, wait a minute, we're going to match up against this group or this group. And it kind of surprises me how much that does not dawn on people until after the fact. So, Steve-O, your thoughts? You see this 6A release. What immediately kind of grabs you beyond what we've mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of the trend with the whole, Austin schools, some of the Austin District 24, where you see into 6A, because traditionally and for really the longest time, Region 3 is just known as, the Houston region. You start seeing, I think, probably what 15, 20 years ago, Houston started bleeding into Region 2, and then but now, I mean, I guess it's kind of crazy to see, an Austin team in Region 3, but it kind of makes you wonder, is Austin's growing that much, or the geographics kind of come into play? But yeah, I'm. It makes you wonder, what the next, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but what the next realignment will be in another 2 or 3 years. So, or 2 years, I should say. What could more Austin teams kind of bleed into Region 3?
If
But yeah.
if you look at District 20, you have Houston ISD teams there. I have a feeling some of those are going to end up dropping to 5A, and I would not be surprised if what you see at District 25 gets moved over
Mm, yeah.
to to
Yeah.
their, and it's becoming similar to like Region 2, where you have Dallas and Houston all together. That's a real regional region, and I think this Region 3 is about to become that. I think we're like
Right.
kind of one of the few ones that's kind of close knit, even though we have the Valley schools, but you're starting to see that trend. Even like I said, even Region 1, you got El Paso, Midland, and then you got the Dallas area. The one that surprised me most, the geographics is the Weatherford, Granbury, and Aledo playing with the Arlington schools, and then they're
Yeah.
moving Capel to the Plano. Honestly, Capel should have been maybe in District 8, you know, um, and then the Arlington schools kind of maybe it was, or Arlington with Capel, something like that. Yeah, that was a little strange there to see that.
Yeah, and then on the opposite end of that, with going back to Region 4, is, I know y'all had mentioned that a lot of the idea schools down in the valley are getting, taking some from, the Brownsville ISD schools and such. So could eventually 31 and 32 become one district, and then Austin comes back. District 24 gets pushed into 25, and everything kind of gets shuffled back down to 32. So I mean, it's all to be determined, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and you had some opt-ups too from District 31. Some of the Enderbrook schools opted up from 5A to 6A.
Right. Yeah, and that was
So
the other thing. That's what impacted 5A and 6A too, were the opt-ups.
so eventually, like I said, I think Verner's Memorial is going to end up going to 5A in a few years, and I think, and if that happens, I think we'll probably end up seeing one 6A Valley district, and who knows, maybe in the few years we may not see any more 6As in the Valley because of a lot of the charter schools just being built like crazy over there. They're just
Yeah,
absorbing so many of those students there, and
that's
and,
crazy.
and so it's happened with the Corpus. I remember Corpus used to have, back when it was 5A was the biggest.
Mhm.
Now you don't see that anymore. I think they lost three schools. I think Moody, King, and I believe, yeah, Moody and King did drop down from 5A to 4A. So
Yeah,
it's,
mm,
yeah.
that whole area is kind of been affected by a lot of those charter schools.
So we look at Region 1. We talked about earlier the gauntlet that is Region 1, particularly District 5, 6, 5, 6, and 7, but particularly 5 and 6. And then you got you got Carroll sitting there, South Lake Carroll sitting there in District 4, along with the likes of Keller, Central, Timber Creek, just to name a few. And then you got the, District 2, the one oddity, right? The five. I think that's just. I think there's no way around it, right? Out in West Texas in the Permian Basin, that's just going to remain probably a 5-team district across the board, right? Whether it doesn't matter if it's football, what sport it is. So how they contend with that in terms of non-district matches, right? So it doesn't matter what sport, right? They're going to have have their work cut out for them. Thoughts on that one, District 2, Rafa?
So the big issue down there, and I've read this, is that especially with Ector, which is Odessa, they just don't want to build another high school. And same thing with Midland IZ, they don't want to build another high school. I think Permian and Odessa High have over 4,000 students apiece. I think Midland, Lee, and Midland High, they're in kind of the mid 3,000s. So, and I do know that both Midland schools are building new campuses and new areas to kind of be able to kind of fill up that kind of
Mm-hmm.
school that public, because I think they have a lot of portables around for both schools. I think eventually, the key is going to be Abilene High. Is Abilene High going to come back to 6A, and
Yeah.
that'll kind of bring back their little Southwest Conference, or is Abilene, kind of losing more of the population? But one team to keep an eye on is Abilene Wiley.
Yeah.
Maybe people
Oh
are
yeah.
moving more south of it. And I was in Abilene a couple years. It's been almost about a year and a half. Uh, I remember when passing through the south end of Abilene, there are more houses being built down there. So
Correct.
probably your next 6A could be your Abilene Wiley, and they may end up taking that spot you know, to being in District 2.
Yeah.
You had Friendship, which you lost, but they just built another high school, because that Friendship area is also growing too. And I want to be surprised they end up adding the third high school
Yeah.
in the
I
future.
think you'll see Friendship again. It may take 2 cycles, but I think you'll eventually
Mhm.
see them back in 6A. So just
I
with
think worst case scenario is that is some of those El Paso schools drop down the 5A, and they end up merging District 1 and District 2 to one. That'd be
yeah.
that'd be something. That's a possibility. You could see El Paso and the Midland Odessa
Yeah.
schools in one district.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd make for an interesting district, that's for sure. So all right. Anything else? One particular district to highlight in either. We've talked a lot about Region 4, Region 1, and outside of District 24 and Region 3. Any one particular district in other district in Region 2 or 3 that you wanted to highlight?
Um, if you look at District 15, it's still as tough as
Oh yeah.
it really hadn't changed anything. It's still
No.
tough as nails. I mean, it is what it is there. Same thing, some of the traditional districts that we had in the kind of days, like the Conroes and the Clients, are kind of staying put together. Um, like I said, same thing with the Centex. You have a couple teams like Belton's moving. Now they're 6A. They're growing. So that's and Temple moved up from 5A to 6A. So you got some growth there in that Centex area. I'm sure District 11. I don't know the football side. I'm sure they're happy they don't have DeSoto there anymore. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, this still tough districts. Like I said, that you're seeing there, your normal kind of rivalry games that you're kind of seeing right now. So, like I said, but still, like I said, you still have your traditions there for your.
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. All right, that will do it for 6A. We're going to move on to 5A here. Look at 5A a little closer here. So, big one that grabs you here in terms of. Oh, let me shift back over here. So, there we go. Big one that grabs you here in 5A, Rafa, that you see, or when you first saw this, compared to now that you've had a few days to kind of look it over. What are your thoughts?
Well, the one that caught my mind was, like I said, was one I had on the list was District 3. Being a 10-team district,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be tough. All that travel back and forth, and especially with the weather conditions on there, you could end up losing out a game, and then you have to play it right away. It could really kind of take a toll on the teams. Um, I think District 6 got a little bit tougher now that Panther Creek's moving up, and then you have that Prosper Richland program. like I say, you have Reading, Lone Star, and then you have Denton Ryan. So, like I said, I think that's still a stacked district. Um, then you have you know some up and comers like with Saginaw, Argyle. I think that's gonna like it's a tough for Region One. Um, what's also crazy is that you have you have two Frisco districts split into two different regions too. So
Hmm.
you have most of you have some in District 6, you have District, and then you have District 11, in Region 2. So could a possibility you have a state semifinal with two Frisco ISD schools?
That's so
That's
weird, man. That's so weird. I mean, I'd get it if they were a district apart, but yeah, that's that's so weird. Um, yeah, you look back, you talk to District 3. I mean, District 3 has an opportunity here. We talk about with the likes of now Friendship entering as well. District 3 has a chance to really be a regional or, a regional power here, right? So, and because we've highlighted them a good bit in terms of just the level of coaching that's there, very underrated in the Panhandle Plains. So I think look for them. I'm very excited to see what how this district materializes over the next year or two.
I think another one is District 12. Now you have Highland Park versus Colleyville Heritage, and Grapevine.
Yeah,
Those are gonna be some doozy of a games there, district games for
yeah,
Region 2. Those are probably with them, and then you go, I guess, with District 9, with Lucas Lovejoy. They're having a great year. They had a great win this past week. You have the McKinney North teams. I'm curious to see what Salina does. I'm sure though if they make the playoffs, they'll go the Division 2 route. Could they make a deep run and surprise? I think they might be. I think they have the talent to come out. I think surprise some teams and go
hmm
maybe 2 or 3 deep and maybe 3 deep in the playoffs.
yeah. Well, the pathway does look like it lends itself for them to make
Hmm.
a run, right? If they can survive their district, right? So, yeah, yeah, great point. Anything we look at Region 3? Thoughts on Region 3?
Just like I said, I think it's kind of really hasn't changed much. As far
You got
as
You got Georgetown that shifted over.
yeah,
That's one. That's one. That's
well,
one that
Georgetown.
hasn't been.
Georgetown isn't currently in Region 3, so uh, like I said, that Georgetown and consolidated. I mean, that's the game everyone kind of wants to see.
Mhm.
Um, you do have, like I said, yeah, you start now. Leander Glen moving over from Region 4 to Region 3. That could be a factor there too.
Right. Right.
Same thing with Manor. Like I said, Manor. I've heard some good things about the Manor boys. You have all four Pflugerville schools together. Um, I think District 24 becomes is still competitive as far as adding the Bastrop in it. Austin Anderson. I know the girls. You know that first round matchup. Imagine them versus Leander Glen or Georgetown or Hendrickson, even Weiss. So it's interesting ones. And then we our coach that we had last week from Katie Freeman. They're moving up to to 5A.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got a lot more consolidated. Randall, some of the Fort Bend schools. So, like I said, Region 3, like I said, is tough because you still also got other teams like Kingwood Park, and it's just loaded. Like I said, just going to be loaded.
Yeah.
You got to bring your A game.
Yeah.
And then the playoffs.
Yeah. The interesting piece about Region 3, you look across the districts. I don't know if I see one that is clear cut, head and shoulders just top heavy, right? Like you may have one dominant team in there, but it's not like it's just two or three, or you can identify four clear cut what should be district, playoff seeds, and then that's it. Like there's some depth to these
Hmm.
districts here. So, right, and then we look at Region 4. Thoughts on? I know we've talked a good bit about Region 4 already, particularly 25 and 26. But when we look at the others, 27 through 32, thoughts on these, Coach?
So like I said, having three Valley districts is going to be very interesting. I'm sure Donna and Donna North are happy getting out of 32, and Westlake East. So for them, it's going to be very competitive. Be able to compete on the boys' side. Girls' side, like I said, you have McAllen Memorial and McAllen High. They should have some good matchups and maybe be able to go 2, 3 deep from
Hmm.
prior to facing maybe a team from 25 or 26. Um, a team to also to keep an eye on, maybe like Gregory Portland. They could be, kind of now with the Austin teams kind of out of the way. Maybe they could, contend and maybe throw a little monkey wrench, into the playoffs. So, and then when you talk about boys soccer, like I said, you got the Brownsville schools. I think the one that's going to benefit is probably Hannah. And it's just like I said, just speaking with my uncle about them, and because I mentioned about them, and he said, yeah, they've kind of taken a hit because of the idea schools, and he feels that maybe them moving down the 5A, they'll be able to compete because, like I said, they got a long history, having a great soccer program. Then they've kind of fallen on little hard times these last few years.
Yeah.
So now be able to, for them to be able to play, you know, and with teams of kind of the same
Right.
population, but
Right.
still, they still got to bring their A game because you got the Lopez, you got Porter, Rivera. Like I said, I'm sure Harlingen and Southern Mercedes are not too thrilled about that, but like I said, I think it should be fun. So it's going to be, like I said, you have a lot of contenders. Boys side, you have a lot of contenders that can pretty much win the region. Girls side, I still think it's someone's going to come out of from 25 or 26.
Gotcha. Good deal. Steve-O, and you're trying to join us. You good? You back?
Yeah, I mean, I
There you
think
go.
so.
Yeah. Had some technical difficulties. Good to
Yeah.
have you back. So we're just wrapping up 5A here, Steve-O. Any thoughts as we wrap up here? Any one particular district or region you want to highlight? We've kind of hit on a couple of districts across all the four regions, but now that we have you back in here, any final thoughts before we briefly glance at 4A?
No, not too much. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't really have too much to offer on this part of the show today. Sorry.
All good. All good. All right, and we will move on here. So we'll go and take a look at. So now this one's a little different. We're going to glance over at 4A here, and don't want to spend too much time on this one because there's multiple variables here that are that are going to come into play that we don't entirely know. And Rafa, tell us. And you hit on this a little bit in terms of your winners and losers, and hit on this a little bit more, Rafa, as to why 4A is still a work in progress.
Yeah, so this is something like I said, me and Harry discussed on Monday night. And what teams from 3A and 2A, how are they going to kind of change the landscape of a lot of these districts? And we were kind of playing around, like kind of like I'll take for an example, like in Region 4, we're discussing about District 28 and 29. I know for District 29, Cuero doesn't have a soccer team, but Floresville and the Navarro, who started, I think they're playing a JV schedule right now. There will be varsity next year. Then you have Gonzales and Lavernia. I don't think Great Heart Oaks is having one. We're not sure yet. That could change. We don't know. Maybe some of those three teams end up maybe moved over to District 28, and now you have kind of like a 10-team district. Same thing with, maybe, some teams from 25 that maybe like you can see like a Burnett or George Burnett, Gerald, and Passes maybe get moved to Region 3 with District 24. So there's going to be a lot of kind of wheeling and dealing around. And like I said, we're going to see an abundance of a lot of 10-team districts, especially in the Valley too. It's, if you kind of look at District 32, but if you look at the current realignment, they have two districts with kind of top heavy, because a lot of, if there was a 3 at
Mhm.
soccer, would have their own division. But like I said, they have a lot of 10-team, 19 districts. So the UIO's got their work cut out, and maybe this is the opportunity for them to really kind of think, hey, should we start introducing, you know, D1 and D2, and particularly for 4A soccer,
Mhm.
to kind of balance things out, to not have too much of this, because if you do look at some of the student populations, there's some gaps between a lot of teams. Like I said, I went to see
Right.
a
Yeah.
team,
Oh, yeah. This is where you start to see the gap open up a lot more
you
in terms
know,
of enrollment.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So like if you take an example like District 27, you have Bandera, Lake, Canyon Lake, Davenport, Fredericksburg, Kerrville, Wimberley. You have a team like Centerpoint, who I saw this year. They're probably going to be like I said, they're playing varsity, like an independent schedule right now. They're probably going to get put into that district, and there's, like I said, there's like a big gap right there. it's when it comes to probably like almost a 900 student gap. So I think that's something they're gonna have to really kind of consider. Maybe introducing for this, for this year. So we'll see what they're gonna come up with.
Yeah. One that caught my eye here too, and I imagine it will hold form is once 4A is finalized, is that isn't getting talked about much, is because they're not known as much for soccer. Andress out in District 1, El Paso
Hmm.
Andress. On the girls' side, they've had some talent over the last
Hmm.
few years, right? They had one particular deep run, a couple of rounds deep, a few years ago. So, but coming down to 4A, right? They might look to shake some things up here there in District 1, as well as matching up versus District 2 in the playoffs. So yeah, very interesting to see. And then of course, I think District 4, a lot of good soccer played out of the
West
Panhandle
Plains.
area in District 4, right? For you have the reigning state champion on the girls' side is there too. Um, so interesting. I think keep your eye on District 4 here, and then definitely cannot ignore District 26 and District 27 out in Region 4, right? So some heavy hitters that will impact the sport statewide coming out of those districts. So, but outside of that, like we said, this is going to change considerably. This will change considerably over the course of the next several months, or I shouldn't say considerably, but it will definitely be tweaked at the 4A level. So at least until the soccer version of the alignment is 100% done. But like we said, it'll closely mirror what we see with volleyball. So all right, final thoughts. That is going to do it as we start to wrap up our show here. We're coming up on Joe Rogan territory, Rafa. You got to keep out of that. So this is our stoppage time where we give our final thoughts, shout outs, thank yous, anything on our mind as it relates to the game or anything we want to talk about. So, Steve, the floor is yours.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, just go out there, Texas, and support your teams. Support other schools within your district as well. It's always fun to not just watch your team, but I know certain teams because I see it in districts around here in San Antonio. Go and support other schools and or probably scouting. Scouting other teams, but yeah, just go out there and support the beautiful game. Um, the way that we do. And then just easy on the refs here and there. I haven't really seen too much craziness from in the stands so far, but they're out there for your kids. So, but yeah, just they're doing the best that they can. But yeah, and just be kind to one another as well.
So I think you were off. Your mic was off,
Oh,
Coach. Oh,
okay.
okay.
There
There
you
you
go.
Great.
Rafa?
go. Final thoughts. Like I said, just want to say congratulations to. I know it was signing day, so congratulations to all the soccer athletes and all athletes signing on, going to the next level. So congratulations on that. It's something to be really proud of. And just looking forward to, like I said, for some great games this Friday. I was one at last Friday, so shout out to Mr. Angel Gomez, I got to chit chat with him there at the Lee and Reagan game. It was a great game, 2-2 tie. They had a big one yesterday against Johnson, and like I said, it's looking forward to see what game. So we'll see where I'm at. I know we've been kind of tweeting and retweeting a lot of the games and stuff. So, like I said, we're here to keep you guys informed what's going on. Just make sure to keep you updated with all the information and giving the proper coverage. And that's the thing we're more concerned about is proper coverage. Making sure the stories go out, like I said, and the scores and all that, and just to find need for what the high school soccer is all about here in Texas.
Good deal. Good deal. Awesome. And yeah, great stuff. And you hit on part of exactly what I was going to hit on. So, also, my final thought, two parts. Just wanted to share again. So, congratulations to all our signees across the state of Texas who are going after it, making it happen, chasing their dreams, wishing you all the absolute best of luck. And we will have one more signing day before the end of the school year. So, looking forward to that as well. And then, only other thing really, so today, kind of shout out to all our female athletes, female coaches across the state of Texas, as today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. So big shout outs, big thank you, and as someone that coaches the women's side of the house, it's always a great day. Any chance they can be recognized for being exceptional athletes, exceptional student athletes, big shout out to them. So that is going to do it as we start to wrap up here for season 6, episode 6 of Inside Texas High School Soccer. Uh, any any final reattacks, anything else, Rafa, that we hit on, that we didn't hit on earlier that you wanted to mention in terms of winners, losers, realignment, or anything the coaches had to share?
Like I said, it's when it comes to realignment, like I said, it's just kind of sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't. There were some surprises, so uh, it's just going to bring a lot of interesting matchups going into next year. Some of the games, like I mentioned, some possible things, but who knows? I guess we'll probably see them in the playoffs this year anyway. So
Yeah.
it's always a fun time to see, kind of predict, and some there were some people that got some things right. So it's a good time, and then like I said, tomorrow, like I said, if anyone wants to follow the San Antonio soccer, I'll be on tomorrow with a roundtable too. So I'll come out with my top 10 list as well, to kind of update that, and then kind of go over some of the things we went over this week, and then Harry's little trip. Shout out to Harry, safe trip back from Eagle Pass. Hopefully, he hit the jackpot there at the casino. help fund the show, but
Yeah.
so we're looking for tomorrow. So just make sure you tune in tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff all around. Yeah, we will be back soon, and so show tomorrow. Rafa, give us a plug. What time? What time and where can they find it?
Yeah, we'll be about like real kind of around the same time here, a little after 8 o'clock. So we'll be on YouTube, we'll be on X, and also we're on Facebook Live too. So just make sure look for San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. We'll be on there. Uh, so we'll have a show. I know we won't be doing the other show because of the Super Bowl, because on Sunday, because it's
Mm,
Super Bowl Sunday, so we won't have anything with Fancast. Even though they played the Dynamo today, they lost, but it's okay. It's just a scrimmage. So tune in tomorrow. Should be fun. Just discuss what happened this week, and then maybe talk about a little more, maybe a little more into depth, some realignment stuff, a little bit more. I'm sure we'll have that conversation, and then, like I said, just really being at the top
yeah.
10 next week.
And for all of our listeners, again, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. For our coaches, for Coach Winston Poole of Cedar Park Women's Soccer, as well as Coach Michael Strong of Bernie Men's Soccer. Really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate both coaches. Thank you, coaches, for joining us tonight. Your accessibility, just coming home from practice and what have you, making things happen, and sharing your thoughts on both your squads as well as the recent realignment release. So thank you for that. Just your time. Really appreciate it. Those programs, those schools are very lucky to have those coaches. So yeah, grateful for them. And then so remember, you can always like, rate, subscribe. Go ahead and follow us. You can follow us on Twitter X, as we call it, at 50_50pod, on Instagram at 50_50 podcast, as well as on YouTube. On YouTube, just simply jump on there, search us, the 50_50 podcast. There you'll find all of our episodes. You give us a follow, go on there, subscribe. That's the big one, right? We have tons and tons of listeners that don't even realize they're not subscribed. How do I know that? Because we get questions on that, we get emails on it, we get messages about it all the time, or in talking with actual listeners who don't realize that they're not subscribed, right? So inevitably they end up missing episodes, or they ask, "Hey, when was your last episode? I didn't see it." And so if you go on there, you subscribe, and you hit that live bell notification, you won't miss a thing, because as we often say, we 99.9% of everything we do is live. So, and we do it for you all. So thank you so much for all of our coaches, all of our student athletes everywhere who have been kind of, I know, up in the DFW area, Metroplex area, they've been trying to play catch up, right, because of the weather last week. Glad you guys are safe. Glad you guys are better, and getting those games in. Really appreciate everybody who's also done. I mean, one of the things that I wanted to share is just all the well wishers for a lot of the sad news that we recently had in the Texas high school soccer world, particularly out in the my good friend in Jimmy Langford and his squad, his community out at Frisco Wakeland. We have you all in our hearts, in our thoughts, in our prayers, and just want you to know that you are not alone. And it's an awesome thing to see programs across the state of Texas honoring your recent loss. So we're with you. Thank you, and always here for you guys as well. So for excuse me, for Coach Rafa Castorena, as well as Coach Steve Sanchez, I am Coach Hector Cano, And you know what to do. Until the next time, keep downloading and keep listening. You've been listening to the 50/50 Podcast, powered by the 50/50 Podcast Network. Help us continue to grow by liking, rating, and subscribing on all major podcast platforms. And don't forget to follow us on X at 50_50pod, on Instagram at 50_50 podcast, as well as on YouTube at the 50_50 podcast. Until the next time, keep downloading